What's up everybody? Today I'm going to show you a build that I like to call King Graviton. This build combines Bottom Tree Nightstalker with the exotic sidearm Rat King and the exotic helmet Graviton Forfeit. This build is all about using Bottom Tree Nightstalker to support your team while keeping yourself alive as long as possible. So let's get started by explaining the subclass. The first perk in the Pathfinder's tree is Vanishing Smoke. Vanishing Smoke allows you to throw smoke on yourself and allies, which grants a nice amount of buffs. First, it grants the Heart of the Pack to all allies hit with smoke. Heart of the Pack gives you and your allies plus 34 to your armor, recovery, and agility for 20 seconds. That's over 3 tiers of buffs per stat. Heart of the Pack also buffs your weapon handling and reload speed. These buffs, along with 8 seconds of invisibility, will allow coordinated teams to hit the other team hard and fast. You can even throw your smoke at an ally in trouble to help them slip away from an opponent. But my favorite way to use a smoke bomb is to turn a teammate with a supercharge invisible. This helps them to position themselves easier to allow them to use their super. The next perk is Combat Provisions, and it's the glue to this entire subclass. Damaging enemies with your grenade reduces the cooldown of your smoke bomb. With each tick of damage, you gain 6% of your smoke bomb back. You also gain grenade energy for each ally that you make invisible. For each ally that you make invisible, including yourself, you will gain 17.5%. Vanishing Smoke and Combat Provisions are great together. These perks allow you to constantly recycle your abilities so you can stay invisible as well as keep your team invisible and buffed as often as possible. Next up is Lockdown. Lockdown is a simple but a powerful ability. This ability just doubles how long your grenades remain active, allowing you to block off key areas on the map and have a greater chance to deal damage with them to cool down your smoke bomb with Combat Provision. Lastly, we have Mobius Quiver, which is the weakest part of this subclass tree. Shadow Shot in general is an underwhelming super, so it's not the focal point of this build, but you get multiple shadow shots to generate a lot of orbs on kills. You also give allies the Heart of the Pack buff if they're at least 30 meters or closer, which is actually a pretty far range to give out the buff. Next, let's pick your dodge and grenades. Normally I always say go for Gambler's Dodge, but for reasons I'll get into later, Marksman Dodge is the way to go for this build. As for grenades, pick whichever one suits you the most, but I would personally recommend Void Wall since its wide area of effect will make getting damage ticks for Combat Provisions a lot easier. Now, let's get into the exotics of the build. Let's start with the exotic sidearm Rat King. The Vermin perk allows you to turn invisible when you reload after a kill with the weapon. Also, if you have the Catalyst, you will gain the Infestation perk, which also gives you a health refresh, make you even harder to kill. This brings us back to our choice of dodge earlier. If you're in the middle with 2 Guardians and kill one, Marksman's Dodge with the Rat King is essentially a Wormhusk crown. The dodge will proc Vermin and Infestation together, healing you up for the next fight and making you invisible again. Now let's talk about Graviton Forfeit. Graviton's exotic perk, Vanishing Shadow, increases the duration of all your invisibilities, as well as recharging the cooldown of your smoke bomb while you're invisible. Graviton takes Rat King invis time from 6 seconds to 8 seconds, and Vanishing Smoke goes from 7 to 9 seconds. This gives you the most time to keep charging your smoke back. This will also allow you to give out invis and the Heart of the Pack buff as often as possible. This will also allow you to keep abusing Combat Provisions to charge your grenade, which will just loop back into the smoke ball to keep you and your allies invisible. Now with the exotics out of the way, let's talk about armor mods and armor stats so you can make this cycle as consistent as possible. Since you want to proc Rat King's perks as often as possible, you should use mods that will make Rat King as effective as possible. So you should use as many enhanced sidearm mods as you can, especially the targeting, reload, and dexterity. Targeting improves ADS speed and aim assist. Reload helps you proc Vermin faster since a reload after a kill is required to activate this perk. And lastly, dexterity helps you ready Rat King faster so you can use it for cleanup kills if your secondary weapon doesn't get the job done. Remember, you want to use Rat King as a finisher to proc Vermin as much as you can. The last mod I would recommend if it's available is the artifact mod, Oppressive Darkness. This mod weakens enemies hit by your grenade, so they deal less damage and they take more from you. This allows for easier kills with the Rat King to keep the cycle going. Lastly, let's talk about the stats. The main 3 stats for this build are Mobility, Strength, and Discipline. Mobility is to make sure that your Marksman's Dodge is available whenever you need to reload Rat King in a pinch. Strength and Discipline are to keep the parts of your ability loop charged and ready to go. And with that, that's King Graviton. Use your smoke to make you and your allies invisible to get the drop on enemies. Your smoke charges your grenade to use on the next guy. Grenades damage charges your smoke. You secure kills with the Rat King, and then you reload to turn invisible, which triggers your healing. All while Graviton Forfeit makes your invis last longer, charging your smoke to keep the cycle consistent. This build is one of my favorites to use. Keeping the cycle going is key, but when you get the hang of it, you might not want to put it down. Give it a try and let me know how it's working out for you in the comments below. And I appreciate your time. Let me know if there are any changes you will make to the build to make it better. And if you enjoyed the video, a like is greatly appreciated. And if you want to see more content like this, please make sure to subscribe. Lastly, if you want to see this build in action, stick around for the rest of the video. Peace.
Zone A lost. Captured Zone A. Zone advantage is yours. Zone B lost. You captured Zone C. You have advantage. Three minutes remaining. That's why we have fire team. Tell them to line up faster. Zone A lost. You captured Zone B. You have zone advantage. Strength in numbers, Guardian. Excellent. Your enemy can't kill if they're dead. Fight until there's nothing left. Zone B lost. You captured Zone A. Zone advantage is yours. Down. A victory well executed.